Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the Happiness Index podcast. My name is Matt Phelan, and I'm your host today, and we are bringing you an episode called Unplugged. And I'm here with Riina. How are you doing, Riina?
All good. I'm doing fine, thanks, Matt. How are you?
I'm good, apart from I know that I'm rolling. I'm not pronouncing Riina correctly in the way that I would, but I, I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Riina, but give us the real pronunciation of if you're not from Essex in England, how you would say Riina.
You are doing perfectly. Kind of in Finland, our R is a bit more, not so rolling. So we would say it's just Riina.
That's much better. I'm going to practice that afterwards, and then maybe we'll have a reunion call where I can get that going. But Riina, please tell us a little bit about yourself and that for our audience. That'd be great.
Yeah. I currently work as the Chief People Officer at LIWLIG Group, which is the largest management kind of event management and brand experience agency in the Nordics. And about my career a bit,
Yes, please.
if I shortly go through kind of how I ended up here. I feel that I have had many careers actually. So I haven't had a typical HR path, so to say. So I started in research and development in Valio, which is in fast-moving consumer goods industry. Got managerial responsibilities early, ended up leading half of the R&D organization. I've also been interested always in helping people and organizations to develop and grow. And then I got an opportunity to work in executive education industry and actually abroad. So I took that chance and I moved to Singapore. And what is to be noted, I had never visited Singapore before, before I signed the contract. So I had never visited there, but I promised that yes, I will go and work there. And I had the full P&L responsibility of the Aalto University executive education business in Asia. And that was a great opportunity to learn about working with different cultures in Asia and view on kind of how organizations develop their people and the leadership. And I was there for a couple of years. Then I missed, in a way, kind of more of the long-term view on developing the organization, missed being part of something kind of long-term. And then I moved back to Finland and I started in Fiskars Group, which is a listed company, presence in almost 30 countries, over 6,000 employees. It's a home for design-driven brands for indoor and outdoor living. And I worked there as a HR business partner, global HR director, and vice president for HR, being responsible of the recruitment, talent management, people development, leadership development, all HR processes and systems. So working with the management teams and HR business partners. Great overview to kind of strategic and operative HR. And then I was from Fiskars, I was then headhunted to LIWLIG Group, which is then a private equity-owned growth company in the Nordics. And I have also had my own side business since 2016, so my own company, and I do career and leadership coaching and leadership branding. I do workshops, give speeches, basically helping leaders and experts to find their dream positions and their career. So that's me kind of shortly and how I have ended up to LIWLIG Group.
So you've been busy, Riina. But before we go on to some of the stuff you've been busy on recently, and we're on a happiness podcast here, and you're talking about Finland, which often comes out on the happiest countries in the world. So I've got a follow-up question, but firstly, I just want to know about your happiness. What makes you happy, Riina?
That's a super good question. Small things in the very kind of ordinary things in everyday life. So good cup of coffee with friends, being able to go for a walk in a forest with my dogs. So I have two rescue greyhounds, blackbird singing in the springtime when I step out from my house into my garden. I mean, really, really, really small things, ordinary things. But in general, it makes me happy when I'm in connection with the nature in all its forms.
Yeah, which is we were definitely going to come on to that as well. Connecting with nature. I just want to add a little question in around the studies that often show Finland the happiest country in the world. When I speak to Finnish people, they tend to break into two brackets. One, they like to agree with it and tell me why they think it is, and ones that say it's absolutely rubbish. Finnish people, and I've also noticed the Finnish Tourist Board are doing a brilliant job, especially in London, of saying, "Come to Finland, we've got a secret to happiness." Hey listeners, it's Matt. I'm your host today, but I also have an offer that I would like to put to you, which is if you would like to use the Happiness Index for free and understand how your people think and feel about your culture and your organisation, just go to thehappinessindex.com and from there, use the tab that says free trial. That will allow you to send out our main survey and benchmark yourself against all of the other organisations using the Happiness Index across the world. Just go to thehappinessindex.com and look for the free trial tab. Thank you, and now back to the podcast. Riina, where do you sit on that? Do you recognise things in Finland that make people happier, or do you think it's what do you think of the report and when you read that?
Mm. Yeah, we tend to come up kind of high on the list with the report, and I believe that there is truth in it. Of course, no country is perfect, but I believe also that it's the all of the things, and we are still connected to the nature. It's also very safe in here. I mean, people can have, families can have, the children can go by themselves to school. You don't need to escort them necessarily there. And it's a safe environment. There's a good education system. There's a good social security system in place. So I think that we have all the ingredients of being happy, and then also that we have the four seasons. There's always something new to uh, kind of wait, and then everyone then loves kind of different seasons, and then it's something good to wait. I know whether you like spring or winter or autumn or so on. So it's not the same all the time, and then you can also appreciate things kind of differently, kind of when you don't have, for example, sun up in the sky during the winter time when there isn't any sun, and then when it's the sun in the summertime, you are fully bracing it and being happy of seeing the sun again.
That's such an interesting thing. I've never heard the seasonality bit discussed in this conversation before, because people joke that now about London. They say we have like one day of summer and then 364 days of rain. And we definitely don't have that clear, clear delineation between the seasons. So I think that's fascinating. And this is going to lead on actually to why I invited Riina on, because personally, I was thinking about this knowing that I was going to interview Riina today. I was trying to think of myself, like trying to picture in my head what happiness is. And I always imagine myself by a lake in a forest. That's what, for me, is what happiness is. And to give the listeners context and why I invited Riina on, it was actually an image that Riina posted on LinkedIn, which was of this group of people on what looks like the side of a mountain or something at an event that Riina had organized called Unplugged. And then I read the description of what had been happening and how Riina and her team had organized for their company to go away and unplug. Oh, we've got the image on the screen if you're watching. That's it. And I was like, wow, I've never met Riina. I'm not sure how I'm got the algorithm to serve this to me, but I'm going to message Riina. I didn't think he'd reply, and then Marina replied, and it's brilliant, and we've had a pre-chat. But the context between, obviously, I have a personal interest in this, which is why I want to get Riina on. But secondly, in our data set, in the happiness index data set of workplace happiness, we talk about energetic connections and that sometimes invisible thing about connecting people together. And we see also in the data how the noise of the modern world could often make it harder to connect. You've got all these emails coming in, you've got everyone calling you, you've got WhatsApp, and me, I am one of these strange people. When I go on holiday, I don't take my phone with me, I don't take my laptop. And I know that when I do that, I come back really, really rested. But I also know every now there is a time when I have to break my rule because there is something I've got to do. And I just know now I can compare it. I know I don't come back as rested. And I like working hard. My philosophy is kind of like work hard, rest hard. And when I saw that image, I thought, wow, this is fascinating that you're bringing together a group of people. So I've banged on about this event Unplugged, but Riina, can you just give us the basics of what Unplugged is and what you were trying to do, please?
Sure. So Unplugged was the theme of our all-employee event this year. So we have been arranging these all-employee events on a yearly basis. So we gather all of our people from all Nordic countries in the same location. And so far, our events have been really action-packed, a lot of action and, energy and drive. And we felt that we started to repeat a bit ourselves, and we wanted to try something different. So one of our values is braver than yesterday.
Really good.
So,
Yesterday. I love that. I
yes.
love that.
Yes. So we ended up turning everything around to opposite what that you would normally do in a company event or a conference. And these our own employee events are also our own test lab, so to say, to try something new, some new concepts that we could then potentially provide to our customers as well. So we wanted to reimagine how a conference is being done. So we went totally unplugged. So what did that mean? So no phones. So we literally took the phones away. People needed to leave them on a basket when we came into the event site. No slides, no PowerPoint. So from fast to slow, from action packed to more time just be formal to relaxed, indoors to outdoors. We were lucky with the weather. Uh, from all the digital distractions to presence, from hard content to soft connections, meaningful shared moments, just being present with each other. And also, I must say that our people, they deserve a break from the everyday rush. Because as you might know, kind of event management industry and business, and as a job, it's very demanding. There are demands coming from every direction. There's a lot to be handled, managed. It's hectic. It's not the easiest job in the world. So we wanted to provide these 2.5 days to our people, just something totally different. And that was the Unplugged.
Because it's interesting, is it? Because you're like a chef that's trying to taste their own food because you do this for other companies. So it's one of the things I found fascinating when I was chatting to Riina is there's going to be high expectations, isn't there? Because you, this is the ultimate thing, isn't it? Like, how do you even, when you've got a load of people that do this as a day job, where do you even start, Riina? Because that's like the expectations must have been high.
Yeah, yeah, you are right. um, it's um, it's a pretty hard job to please over 300 event experience professionals who have seen it all, who have done it all. So how to please that crowd and how we do that, it's that we always collect on a cross-country project team to plan this, make a suggestion to the leadership team, and then our own people are then organizing then the whole event, and then we have, of course, some collaboration partners and so on. But basically, we design and produce the event for ourselves, and the audience is not the easiest.
Yeah.
But I mean, our project team did a great job pulling everything together. You can imagine the amount of details, and doing it also differently this time kind of requires a lot of pre-planning. So I want to also take the opportunity really to thank Soile Niinikoski, who was the project manager,
Yeah.
pulling everything together, and then Rickard Farman and then Arttu Kallio, who were the creative minds, so our creative directors in Sweden and Finland, who built the whole concept, were brave to propose this concept to our leadership team. And then, of course, the hard work that the whole project team, many of them involved, did behind the scenes to make everything happen.
I just want to touch on the phone thing quickly, Riina. I'm just standing up, by the way, because where I am, it has one of those motion sensor lights. So I have to move. I have to move.
Then it
It's the environment.
dims the lights a bit every now and then. Yeah.
Yeah. So on the phones thing, Riina, to me, if I worked in your company, I'd be like, this is brilliant. But I'm going to imagine, I'm going to pick on a law firm. I'm going to imagine a law firm of 300 people. And I can imagine everyone kicking off. I can imagine everyone saying, I need my phone on me. You don't understand what my job's like. I can't. I could imagine 100 reasons. And I guess you said yourself, it's a pretty plugged in industry. You got really intense work going on. What to talk us through that? Were there 300 people were like me, where they were like brilliant, or were there some people who were like, you can't take my phone off me, Riina?
That is a good question. So when this was proposed by the project team that let's have no phones, we were a bit like, no phones. Okay. Tell us more. Oh,
I like that. Tell us more is a really good. I always think when someone knows that, because this is just such a good thing to say, that tell us more, because
yeah, exactly.
you're skeptical, but you're open to hearing a bit more.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously, it wasn't embraced from the beginning when we then launched it, and when along the way kind of people got to know that okay, that there won't be phones. So okay, how are we going to deal with our client work, and how do I then keep connecting to home or children, and lots of questions and resistance. But in the leadership team, when then the project team presented the whole Unplugged idea, we made a decision that we will go full on, we will do everything, or we don't do it at all.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, of course, it concerned a lot of people that, okay, there won't be any phones, but how it worked, kind of just to share a bit in kind of the practicalities. Yeah, we left the phones there, but you could go there kind of in the phone park and the room, and if you needed then your phone, you could then use it privately there. Also, many people, for example, me, I don't have a wrist watch. So what's the time? When do I need to be, somewhere? Because I don't have the phone where I have the clock. Then I was asking there, everybody, what's the time? What's the time? But then, you get used to that too. So, but also, the alarm clock kind of in the morning when you need to get up, you didn't have that. So it was so sweet, because then in the envelope, kind of in the written handwritten kind of letter, there was then and a paper where there were, that when would you like to be waking up? And then there were times, and then you could use your pencil to tick the time when you wanted to be waking up. And then there was tape, and then you could tape that thing onto your hotel room. And then, people were, just knocking and, the doors and, woke people up. And then we had also um, kind of emergency phone number that was shared beforehand to everybody so that you could share it with your family. If anything urgent happens, they can call into that number, and then a person finds you from the crowd, so to say, and then you can be connected immediately. So we were thinking then on all of these different aspects. But if I still add one more thing, kind of then afterwards, when we then asked that how was the experience, so actually 53% of our people kind of embraced kind of the phoneless experience and how it ended up, and willing to consider changing their habits, digital habits in everyday life. So 53% considered changing their daily habits because of the event
Wow.
we had. So that was something, then we knew that it was the right choice to
Yeah.
just give it a try.
And what about the 47%? Did they buy an extra phone where they were like, I never want to be without my phone again?
I don't know. I hope so, but it was just the question that would you consider of changing your own habits?
Got you.
Yes. So it was only yes or no.
Great,
So
great
I don't know exactly, but we do know that 3% consider changing their own daily habits.
Well, more than half your business, based on a few days away, are looking at changing their habits. Riina, obviously you unplugged everyone. It's in the name, right? Tell us how that felt like when you were there. Did it actually make a difference? Like, what did it change the human interactions and the reasons that you were there? Take us through it, please, Riina.
It did, in a sense that 'cause we didn't have, in a way, any tech or, PowerPoint slideshows or, phones or, that I'm checking my phone, that if some message has, arrived, or if I had an email, or if there's something in a Slack or, Teams or whatever. Um, so it allowed us time just really to be present with our colleagues. And it, in a way, also slowed down the pace, kind of that everyone then went a bit into the kind of that slower mood, and and also that the program was planned so that there were planned activities but not too much. There was also free time, and then there were also sessions where you could choose what you want to do. And for example, it's a luxury. On the second day, we had a breakfast, 1.5 hours, and we were thinking, 1.5 hours for breakfast. But then we were out in a terrace. There was sea there, nice views. We were lucky with the weather, sun was shining, and we had a reggae band playing there. Just relaxing music, reggae band there. Just discussing with the colleagues, listening to the music, small, um, wind on your hair, and, just eating good breakfast. I mean, what could be better?
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like a dream. In terms of the business, like, what sort of feedback are you getting from leaders in the business? What are they saying? Do they Has it been perceived as beneficial?
Absolutely, absolutely, and we do gather feedback from obviously from all of our events, and w- all the leaders, team leads, all of our employees, they have really appreciated this, and they also see it's a huge investment, of course. Also, bring in over 300 people in one location, time-wise, budget-wise, it's an investment, but we see that it's an investment worth of taking. And I mean, the short-term impacts, all the excitement, proudness of our company, being part of LIWLIG, being part all of this, and the feeling of togetherness and feeling that we are on the same boat, on the
Yeah.
same journey.
Yeah.
And I mean, also then, because we have been growing over the years via M&A, mergers, so getting to know our colleagues across the countries, across the departments, just improves the collaboration, even though that we are not necessarily doing anything specific there in the event. But it's easier to ask help, utilize our expertise and know-how around all the offices and all the countries when you have, discussed over the breakfast and listened some reggae together in the morning. So I mean, yeah, there are many benefits as we see it.
And I think from an M&A perspective, if we just take it wider, there are some stats that say that up to 70% of M&As fail because they fail to connect the separate tribes. And I think, like, because if you think about it from I'll just make some numbers up, but let's say you bought 4 companies for 10 million each and put them all together. It's the plan is always, if you put those businesses together, they're not worth 40 million, they're worth 100 million if all the synergies work and everything. But actually what often plays out is the 4 cultures that come together don't connect, don't gel. We went through a reverse merger in my first company when we were sold, and it was so hard. And when you've never done one before, you think it's easy. You kind of think about the logos, you think about the branding, you think. And I just always remember when we went through it, like someone explaining to me, like even like the 2 names were gonna like merge, and I just thought it was such a small thing. And someone said to me, but Matt, you wouldn't like it if someone just renamed you Dave, would you? And they were obviously joking, but it really brought it home for me. And I think from an M&A like merging perspective, obviously it sounds like you've done a few over a period of time. Did you feel like it helped brought some of the tribes together, or did people stay in their sort of like set out previous groups?
That's a good question. As humans, we tend to stay or keep what is kind of familiar for us,
Yeah.
and also with our colleagues. So we tend to go then to discuss or sitting in the same tables with the people that we know.
Yeah.
And how we tackle this in our events is that we do both. So we allow kind of time and some breakfast or dinners or activities that you can choose yourself, and you can go with your familiar kind of people and colleagues. But then we also always in the programs we uh, gently and in a loving way force people to go with the people that they don't know. So we use kind of different kind of techniques. For example, it's pretty easy, that there is a bowl where you then pull out a number, and then there are, for example, I don't know, 12 numbers that you use. And we did this on the second day lunch, actually, when people came out from the building. There was a bowl, you needed to take a number, and then you on this big yard you needed to find the same numbers. And it was so funny, people were shouting with those numbers, and hey, 11, 11, any 11s? And then, am I the only 2? Is there no one more with this number? And then when people you know got into their groups, then we were uh, picking up a kind of uh, lunch in a basket, and then we could go anywhere kind of with that basket and a group of people that we necessarily haven't kind of met or knew, and then just to gently help the discussions, we could either, just discuss whatever we wanted on whatever topic we wanted, but then I don't know, quite a few groups, and I think that majority used, and we had on a cards then kind of prompted questions to share something work related or life related things, and then we went a kind of around and everyone shared. So it's then if especially if you are a bit more not so talkative or a bit introvert, is easier, that okay, there is structure, and there is these safety questions that I can actually ask,
Yeah.
and then we can have a discussion around those. So that has been our way of gently forcing also people to get to know other people.
Yeah. Rena, I just wrote the two ways around for a small company and a large company. I can imagine, because 300 is such a lovely number. It's such a nice size to be as an organization. I can imagine small companies listening going, I love all that, but there's no way I could afford that. It's too large scale. And also I can imagine large companies thinking, there's no way that we could do that. We're too big. It kind of wouldn't work. So I'm going to pick apart one at a time. If someone was listening and they understood the concept that by unplugging, you manage to reconnect people on a human level, and that is really useful for your business moving forward. If you're a smaller company, any tips on what a smaller company with less budget really could take from your experience?
Yeah, that's a certainly a good question. So smaller companies, yeah, if there are kind of less people, of course, easier to bring together. But if there are budget constraints, of course, you wouldn't necessarily be able to do kind of a fully kind of unplugged offsite event. But you could take parts of it. You could organize in your own premises half a day, uh, for example, a workshop, and just agree that there won't be any phones. There's a phone part. You leave your phone there, and then you get it when you kind of when we leave the workshop, and you could also build a workshop so that there is no slides, that you are just present there and discussing. Of course it requires a lot of pre-planning, or you could bringing also some immersive kind of experiences. So what we also did that we offered people something new, kind of that they have necessarily tried kind of before. For example, we had gongmatic kind of sound bowls, we had meditation, we had axing, we had color theory, we had original play, we had both gymnastics, which is a kind of meditative movement, kind of something different. I mean, whatever then that is in kind of the company's context. But there are many ways how you can kind of break the routines also with the small budget or no budget at all.
Yeah, I love that, Raina. And I'm gonna just pick a company, 10,000 employees,
Mm.
and they're also looking and thinking, well, we're in 100 different countries. Again, I like that, but we can't all get onto one mountain. It's not going to work. And what could they take from it, Rena?
Yeah. So you could then do this in a way kind of in smaller groups. So having local events or targeted events into certain employee groups or departments, or actually even to your clients. Not that we are speaking, but you could take it then in a really large company into smaller level where you can then make an impact, and thinking on also from that perspective that who would benefit on this,
Yeah.
who would need to come more together, who would need to collaborate more.
Yeah.
So kind of breaking it into smaller groups of people. And then you could do the same full experience going offsite, or again you could take elements into smaller workshops or meetings.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks, Riina. I'm gonna pick up the pace now, and I'm gonna go in with 4 quick questions. It just kind of like to give us a snapshot. I just want to go through it, which is, so if you had to summarize what went well, what would be your summary of what went well, Riina?
What went well? We went full in. So we
Cool.
went full in to the Unplugged. So no phones, no digital things, no laptops, and that people embraced it. Also the balance of the what I mentioned earlier, kind of the planned program, free time, and then the selection of activities, kind of what you wanted to do, so that everyone could then also pick up a kind of a bit more kind of activity that has more energy, or then kind of a low pace energy.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that also we were really successful on few of the on the plan things that we did.
Yeah.
So we organized a full dinner outdoor on the cliffs, the picture that you saw. The whole kitchen was, brought up to the cliff, and, all the food, drinks, everything. And that was one of the most high rated activities. And, imagine a dinner, we were by the sea, and then, after the dinner, we saw when the sun kind of set down and beautiful. And then it went dark. And then one of the 3 most embraced activities was then kind of the rave in the woods. So then when it went dark, there started to, and music and then lights coming up from the woods. And then there was a full rave party there.
Wow.
And then the third most liked and successful activities was the session of We Are LIWLIG. And there we went into this dimmed, a bit kind of dark room. You will see in the background if you
Yeah.
and it was kind of silence. So everybody was then, silent. And when we went in, and people could take the chairs, or, um, lie on the floor, sit down, go lying on their backs, or whatever they wanted. And all we had was that moment there together, and the sound. Only the sound. So it was actually pre-recorded, but our CEO then shared shortly, where are we going? What is our journey forward? Just the sound, and we were listening.
Wow.
And then there were our colleagues around the different countries, different departments, sharing they why. So why do they love to do this job at LIWLIG? Why are they here? And that was so powerful. And everything else was just silent. Then we walked out silently, and that was a really, really powerful experience for all of us.
Sounds amazing. Riina, just something that we have in common I just wanted to touch on, that some people fear about events.
Yeah.
Is some people see events as a rite of passage to drink. There's people like myself and yourself that don't drink. And I used to be a drinker, and now I'm not a drinker. But now I'm in the non-drinking gang. Other non-drinkers tell me when it comes to Christmas parties, events, really one of the reasons they don't want to go is they don't want to be around people drinking. And it will be everything from bad behavior just to it's just not what they want to do in a work setting. Where did people drink? Did they not drink? How did you deal with that?
That is a good question, and of course also an area that we are thinking every time, and how can we do better, because we don't want to come together, just for drinking. I mean, it's not our aim, but we didn't want to kind of say no to the drinking. But what we did is to provide different options. So, uh, for example, because we do have people, and it's also tends to be that the younger generations, they don't necessarily drink as much as the older generation. If I put it really, really, really black and white,
Yeah.
but anyhow, so for example, all the drinks that we had same number or selection of non-alcohol and alcohol drinks.
Yeah.
So that and then you could choose, for example, the lunch baskets. Or actually, no, we didn't have any alcohol in the lunchtime, but kind of in the evening, in the dinner, in on the cliffs. There you could choose if you wanted the kind of non-alcohol drink or then alcohol drink, and then we also limited the time that kind of the morning, daytime. Until the evening is our working time, and we don't drink when we are at work, even though that this is our company event. And then in the evening until 11 o'clock, we then people could also consume alcoholic or alcohol drinks if they wanted. So we try to balance that a bit.
And I think that's the theme that I'm getting from this, is that you've gone all in on it, but you're not enforcing behavior, you're giving people options. And I think there's a massive lesson in that. Again, because I'm not anti people drinking, but I do want to go to an event knowing it's not just going to be a pee up, as we would call it in the UK. But Riina, if you must have done your retro. What would you improve next time? What have you done?
Yeah, like we discussed, it's not the easiest crowd to please, so to say. Uh,
Tell us the feedback.
So we got, of course, a lot of feedback what we could have done better. But I must say that kind of all in all, and the big picture, everything went really well. Requires a lot of pre-planning, and devil is in the details in our industry. But for example, some details that we could have done better, and we need to kind of improve for the upcoming. There were some issues with the timing of the food, kind of these type of things. But one thing that we actually tried, kind of that the pre-info and pre-communication was also non-digital. So what did this mean? We kind of as a kind of in every event, we start to give the details of the events kind of bit by bit. So not everything is revealed at once, but it's a tradition that we reveal the location, and okay, the dates are, of course, people know that they are locked, but the location and what's happening, kind of it comes bit by bit towards the actual event. So non-digital. So we had in every single office, we had a handwritten book where we were giving kind of the information. Kind of then it was super funny, it was there on a table, certain table in all the offices, and then bit by bit, more information handwritten was coming into that book. Some people found it, some didn't, and then there was a bit of confusion. What is happening, and do we have a event this year? And then kind of 2 months or so, 1.5 months before the event, we realized that okay, that we need to have digital info as well. So that was a bit ambitious. So then we ended up kind of building a kind of a landing page where all the relevant information, the practicalities were. But and these type of details, many things that we what to take into account. We have a huge list, so that can we do better next time.
Yeah, and I think every event in the world, any event I've ever been involved in, food always comes up, and temperature always comes up. You can never get away from those two, can you? You can never get the temperature right, and you can never get the food, even though you can improve it.
Yeah, yeah.
Read it into summary. Two final questions. What was the short-term impact of doing this?
Short-term impact. Excitement. It always creates excitement, proudness, togetherness, feeling that we are on the same boat, same journey. So, in other words, on employee engagement, being proud of working in LIWLIG, and then also as we have spoken, we have been built over the years by the M&A mergers. So getting to know your colleagues. So this is a great way of um, building that when you have then discussed with your colleagues, kind of the same department but different country. It's so much easier than to reach out and ask help or ideas or work in the same project then in the future, and in that way kind of utilizing our talent and know-how better. So short term, I would say that for us, those would be at least some of the benefits.
I love that just feeling like you can reach out. It's such a human thing, isn't it? Because everyone's been at, whether it's the first day at school or the first day in a job, you had it when you went to Singapore. It doesn't matter how confident you are, if you don't know someone, it is harder, isn't it? And being our main job is to work together, otherwise a company wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So it's so great to hear that. So final question, you can probably guess because I've asked what short-term impact is. What do you we talked about the why at the beginning, but what's the what was the vision in terms of what you think the long-term impact for this is?
Yeah. Of course, in long term, we want to build our company culture, what type of company we want to be, increase the employee engagement and satisfaction. We want to do these investments in time and in money in order to build that, and fostering the joint culture, becoming as one LIWLIG, truly.
Yeah.
Employee branding, attracting the talent to us, for sure.
I mean, I'm not on the job market, but when I saw that photo, I thought if I was, that's where I want to go.
Welcome. And then of course is our clients. So we can then also provide same or similar experiences and impacts to our clients. So helping them to build their culture, helping them to attract, the right talent or the talent that they need, and then also the increase the engagement and employee satisfaction.
I love that, Riina. One final question, which I didn't put in the list, but I always think in, if you went in a time machine and met the 14-year-old Riina, what would you say to her?
Trust yourself. You will get far. You will get far as a person as you are.
Yeah, love that. This has been brilliant. Riina, we haven't. There's one bit we haven't had time to cover, but I'm going to do it on your behalf. I don't want anyone thinking that this was simple to achieve, because behind the scenes, Riina and her team have fought through every little thing that could happen and not happen and everything. So I want people to go away totally inspired by this, because I'm inspired by it. But I also want them to go away thinking there wasn't a lot of work, because there's their financial investment, isn't there? Like you're paying for hotels, all this kind of stuff. But from what I've heard behind the scenes, there's a lot of effort gone in from people. But sounds like it's going to be worth it with what you're achieving for long-term impact. So, Riina, I'm just going to say thank you. And there's a couple of things people might want to get in touch with. One, it sounds like you do some individual work. And two, the organization sounds amazing. How do people get in touch if any of this has been inspirational to them?
Absolutely. So please do get in touch. You can, for example, reach me via the LinkedIn. You can send a PM there. So that's probably then the easiest. Or Riina Gröhn or at lively.com email. But yeah. Anyway, either email or via the LinkedIn. Please feel free to stay in touch, keep in touch, reach out if you have any questions or if you want to continue a discussion.
Yeah, Riina, on behalf of myself and the listeners, thank you so much. And if you do try any of this and you do unplug, message either Riina or me and let us know your experience. And also if you think, oh my God, there's no way I could do that, message us, either of us. We would love to hear from you. But thank you. That was amazing. I learned so much. Thank you, Riina.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me.